and welcome back to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the number one place for your hunting, fishing and country sports stories from around the world. Stick on the kettle, crack open a beer, put up the feet, relax and enjoy. Hello, and welcome back to episode 133 of the Irish Hunting Podcast. This week, it's Rob and Shawnee's turn for a night in the Foxes. We'll let you know how Sean got on his first night out, what he thought of it. And Rob and Anto have a little argument. Enjoy this one, folks. Mr. Tracy.
Anthony Grogan, welcome back.
Well, I had to do this, man. You're missing me that much. We had to do 2 in 1 week.
Sure, look, I'm ringing you 3 or 4 times a day just to hear your voice. These are handy though, aren't they?
They are, because we can kind of tip in and out of them nice and handy, because we're both in work and stuff. Sometimes to try and get to sit down at a certain time, and there's all kinds of stuff coming at us. So, I agree.
I thought when you were going to Galway, sorry for interrupting you, buddy. Yeah. When you were going to Galway, I actually thought, we won't get many of these done at all, but it's working out that no, they're easy enough done.
They are. Avril actually said to me there yesterday, "You're not in great form. Do you want to go back up to Rob for a couple of days?"
Come on back up for just 2 days. We'll go out.
We will. We'll have to do it.
Yeah.
My new mattress for my bed is coming out next week, so that'll be an excuse to go up and have a little lie down there.
These are the mattresses that we were trying to get from Caboo.
Correct.
Now they are some comfy mattress.
Yeah.
And is it as big as the ones in there?
Yeah.
Sure, you and Avril, you'd be about 6 foot away from each other. Just that much room in them things.
That's why Avril ordered this particular mattress, buddy.
That's our grand plan.
Yeah, and then the supersized pillows and all, so there's like a line of them between us and all. Do you know what I mean? Just in case.
A little barrier.
Yeah, flood barrier. I was going to say, how are you keeping?
Yeah, all good. Just enjoying the weather. I'm actually in work. It's my lunch break at the moment, so that's why I'm able to squeeze this in.
Oh, be careful. If it's not your lunch break, buddy, you'll have some little rat complaining.
Some little weasel. No, it's my lunch break, so no one can say anything.
Nope. Every man's entitled to a lunch break.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? You've been doing a bit of shooting, and I'd be a little bit jealous.
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit. So I was out, like, the new night vision that I put up a video of, and to be honest, I wasn't doing it justice with the videos I was putting up, because I'm only learning how to use it myself. So it actually has a feature there that I didn't know about. As soon as you shoot, it has recorded that without you pressing anything. But because a fox comes out so quick, or I don't be focusing it, I just to be shooting. So then the videos I'm putting up are out of focus. Do you know that way?
Yeah, I know. But I think that's real though. You know what I mean? There's no point in putting up something. Do you know what I mean? It's all kind of glossed and beautiful and all. That's exactly what happens is all. And I think I was talking to you. I remember, going out before night vision, and like that, you'd be, unless you kind of set it every night, like if you relied on the settings that you had on the last night with different conditions and weather, humidity, all that kind of stuff, kind of plays a factor. So you nearly have to just get into the habit, just kind of setting it properly at the start before you go out, and then kind of maybe having to adjust if conditions change or whatever. But yeah, that's all part and parcel of it, isn't it?
Yeah. And I've been shooting a couple of targets with it. I'm really happy with the day function on it as well as the night function. But no, overall, I couldn't. I'd like to get a side by side with another unit, like a top range unit, and I might try organise that shortly, just so I can show.
Yeah, the
comparisons between two.
If there's any pros or cons to each model, I do like that. Like it's like anything they'll do. They're coming on so much in the last couple of years, aren't they? Like where, like you take that kind of automatic record function. It's obviously when you go to mount a gun, or there's some sort of a setback pre-record thing, and then if you pull the trigger, then it kind of stores it or whatever. similar to shotgun type of setup, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's very useful because if you forget or you're in like there's something moving quickly and you don't have time to hit record, it's automatically just capturing it in the background for you. So
yeah, and look, us two would need something like that because we just get wrapped up in the whole moment of it, and then you know what I mean.
yeah,
Actually, forget to do what we're supposed to be doing, which is video and recording and doing all kinds of stuff. So that's very
yeah.
handy. The
And
clarity on the day function, buddy, is very, very good. I'm really like I know I've said it last week, but very impressive, very impressive.
yeah, no, it is. I'm impressed. I need you to come out and get behind it both day and night and have like give a second opinion because I could be biased. Sometimes you don't even realize you're being biased. But
Yeah,
because it's mine, I might think it's the best thing in the world. That's why I want to see it through another another night vision and I want second opinions on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And likewise with your torch, I want to see your torch against my torch through
yeah.
both. So then I can
Absolutely.
tell which torch is better.
Look, look. I think that's the beauty of having the kind of different things to bounce off. And I had heard like over in the UK, obviously they use them as a day and a night scope. So so during the day for deer and foxing at night, and they can do that over there. But and I've heard people saying, oh, like the these new digital scopes now, they're surpassing all the traditional scopes, which I don't actually think they've done just quite yet. But that'll be just my personal opinion. But I definitely think they're getting a lot closer, very, very quick.
Yeah, bang for your buck. You're getting a lot with one of these scopes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't. When I say it doesn't matter which brand you go for, if all the sensors and you can't go wrong with some of the top names. You won't be disappointed. Then it's just
yeah,
down to personal preference and what your eye likes.
yeah,
But you're getting a lot for about a quarter of the price of the top of the range scopes.
yeah. So, like you can't really argue with it. You can see why a lot of people are changing them over there,
Yeah.
um, because it's becoming more and more that kind of a, you know, what am I getting? Like if you have to have a second scope, for night vision, and then you have to have like a good quality scope, you're talking, 3-4 grand there now between two scopes. So comparatively now you're for in around the grand mark, you're getting something that does both now.
Some
So
that does it all and does it all well. I won't say
yeah,
does it all at the top of the range, but does a very, very good job.
yeah. Look,
I
you're
need
not
I
going.
need you to come out and get your opinion is what I need because I
Yeah,
could be telling not telling lies, but I could be swayed a little bit.
yeah. No, I know. Look, that tends to happen sometimes, even myself. But when you get a new kit, you know what I mean, because it's better than any of the rest of the kit you've had. You kind of get because exactly like that. It's better than what we've had. But on saying that, I remember the day you were up zero and I had a little quick look through it. The videos you're putting up, you can see the kind of capabilities of it. The little, even the cant on the bottom. You know what I mean? For
Yeah, yeah. It
um,
has a cant read and it has an angle read
yeah,
on the
like
right hand side. And if you turn off the horizontal distance in the menu, it'll give you your angle distance and your horizontal distance.
yeah.
It'll give you both.
So there you go. Like, and then you've the ballistic calculator built in. So
Yes, built in off the angle distance if you flick it on.
yeah,
So you
so
don't have to adjust anything.
yeah, like
You know what
now it's kind of like little cheating, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean?
but no, I mean that in a positive way.
Yeah.
But like if you were taking like back in the day, you had to, you know, you had to judge your distance, possibly a laser rangefinder, and carry a thermal monocular or whatever. And then you had, try and do all your either your holdovers or your dialing and torches and all kinds. And now it's getting very, very streamlined, which is good.
It is, and it is, like people will argue you're losing your field craft, but they've argued this since the time of the bow and arrow. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah,
oh, you're cheating with a rifle, or you're cheating with a scope. You should have iron sights. And then when thermal came out, the big thing was sure there's no skill in that at all. Now nearly everybody has gone for a thermal instead of binoculars. If
yeah,
you had to pick one, like and you had to produce animals, I would suggest the thermal would be better than binoculars.
yeah. Of course, it's gonna give like if you think back to the days where when and you're shooting a lot longer than I am, but even when we're out fox shooting, like you look around and you say, there's nothing there. Do you know what I mean? And you throw up the thermal. Like if you were to throw a torch across the field, there's nothing there. You throw up the thermal then, and it's showing you things that you just wouldn't have had a chance of seeing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So look, look in one way, dude, it probably is a little bit sad. Like if you take it right, I compare it to the deer shooting, right? Do you know where years and years ago, you know what I mean? You had to, as you rightly said, you'd no great quality of scope. You probably had iron sights. You were tracking all that. You probably had poor quality ammunition and rifles and so on. So the thing was, you had to probably try and get in as close as you could to the animal. Do you know what I mean? Which is still the case, obviously, but not necessarily now. Do you know what I mean? Like 100 meters now is a small distance now. Do you know what I mean? Whereas probably back in the day, they were trying to get into, you know, 30, 50 meters. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, like sub 50. Yeah,
So like it's like that, and that's one half of me is kind of sad that's kind of slowly like the new age shooters probably not going to 50 meters. Why would you want to get into 50 meters of an animal? Do you know what I mean? Do you know that type of way? You look at
yeah.
it, do you know?
I probably need to get into 50 with the way I'm shooting recently.
Well, here's your brother. Even with all the technology that ever they have, I still need to get in close.
Yeah, same as that.
But I
Uh,
think I think there's something cool about that. Like if you take again when we started shooting, we were just shooting kind of everything, man. Do you know what I mean? We weren't doing what we're doing now in terms of management or looking at a herd and saying he might be a good stag next year. We'll take the kind of the runt or the poor head out. Do you know what I mean? So all that kind of
wonder,
stuff.
but we knew no better, buddy. It's only when we started
That's
going
it.
to countries that have like a deep history of hunting and they're not afraid to pass on knowledge that we started to grow as what I think hunters and the way you should be doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And I
So
think look, probably I think later in later years it'll probably go full circle where you're going back and you're happier to be out rather than putting numbers on the ground. And I think look, it's in a lot of ways there's a lot of lads obviously they want to do the whole Mickey measuring thing like, oh, I shot 10, I shot 15, I shot 20, I shot 25, that type of stuff. And grand, whatever. Not saying if that stuff floats your boat or whatever, but then
some areas I'd argue they have to do that just to
of
keep
course they
numbers
do,
down.
of
Do you
course they
know?
do, of course they do.
Yeah.
But while that is correct, I still maintain it shouldn't really be a competition, man. Do you know what I mean? The amount of animals you put in the ground shouldn't determine how good a hunter you are. Like, arguably, if you brought that strategy over to Hungary, they'd be looking at you saying you're poor hunter. Do you know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
you're just shooting for numbers. If that's what you're I know I'm getting into a controversial area, but that's the way it'll be over there. Like the amount of heads on the ground is not equal to your
How good you are.
yes, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know that. I know that. But with the overpopulation of deer in Ireland at the moment, I have no issue with lads going out and shooting. Once they don't weaponize how many deer they're after shooting.
That's
For
my thing.
instance, for instance, right? Do you remember we put up a video of you taking the head off a deer?
Yep,
And we got lots of that lad can't take a head off it. Yet the head came off the deer. But one of them lads I went back at. And he
yeah,
came back with something like, I've shot 256 deer this year. So I know what I'm talking about. So me being me, I did a little bit of research
yeah,
and went through his page. There wasn't one picture of any deer. There was lots of airsoft stuff.
yeah,
So I said, show me some pictures of your 250 deer. And if you can do it any better, you throw up a demonstrational video.
yeah. And we
And he
gladly
never
heard. Yeah,
he never came back because at the end of the day, why do we do the videos? Why do we do the gear reviews? Is to teach new shooters and hunters. Like the only reason I'm putting up anything to do with that night scope is if a new young lad wants or someone wants to get into the night vision world, that they can look at the video and make their mind, oh yeah, I really like that. I like the features on that. Where prior to that, when we started, there was nothing like that. You were going
exactly.
into a gun shop and buying whatever that supplier had on the shelf.
I find it fascinating, buddy, since this whole thing started, like the podcast and all that kind of stuff, right? There's so many people that will actively come on and say that's not right, or that's not what you should be doing, or you should be doing this. Where were these people, man, before that? Like, how was, like, every day you go out, like, we all, no matter who you are, your lineage will dictate that we have all started making a bollocks of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that is
Yeah,
just the truth of it, because even you could do all the course in the world, be brought out and shown, but eventually you're going to have to do it yourself. And I'll remember the first time I grollocked a deer. I'll remember the first time I shot at a deer. All those kind of fuck ups.
yeah.
Um, and now it's gone to the stage where nobody wants to put up anything, or I even seen people asking a question, like a simple question. It'll be come back. If you don't know that, you shouldn't be shooting. What kind of an answer is that to be given to somebody who's trying to better themselves in
Trying to learn.
sport? Do you know what I mean? I find it
Yeah, I've
outrageous.
no problem with anyone asking any question, even if it's what you would consider. That's simple, and someone has to start somewhere.
Yeah,
And I've seen what you said, people getting on. Sure, sure, I know that. It's as simple as this, and yeah, that's not aimed at you. If you know it, then I'm not aiming this video at you. This
yeah,
video is aimed at the lowest common denominator in our industry. That's who it's for.
yeah,
So while you know, that's great on you. And you could probably teach me a thing or two, no doubt. But don't start coming back with stupid comments. Or
yeah,
do, because I just ignore them.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're better ignoring them than me. But going back, I suppose that probably feeds on in terms of like the whole, I would say, education slash and process and whatever. And obviously, you had a young hunter out with your own young lad on last week doing a bit of fox hunting.
Yes.
Talk
Yeah.
us through. Start. How did you get on? How did he find it? Warts and all.
From his perspective, he was very, very excited to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the start. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different shooting into dark and then a different quarry. And he thought he would be doing the majority of the shooting.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he can't shoot.
Yeah.
So I had to explain to him, no, you can't. You're just out to observe and learn. And then as we progressed through the night and got a couple of fox, it transpires he didn't like it.
Yeah.
You have to remember he's a little bit younger, and they the foxes were cub foxes, which
Yeah.
nearly reminded him of puppies. Now this is warts and all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And no, he wasn't into it at all. Because and then he was not using it as an excuse, but he was saying, sure, if I can't eat it, why am I shooting it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Genuine question.
it was a genuine question because he'd be big. Obviously, that's what we do preach. So,
Yeah.
and I was trying to explain, no, you don't eat foxes, but why can't you? I don't know. You just fucking can't. Like, I don't have an answer why you can't eat it, but we just don't eat it. So he didn't like that aspect of it. So on the drive on the way home, I said it to him, look, were you into that? And it was all right. Now you have to remember, it's late. What time did we get home? At half two, three.
Yeah.
So it's late as well. And the next day I said it to him, well, would you go out again? Ah, it's not my favorite. I prefer hunting the dog and you shoot. That's what he would prefer to do. And
Yeah.
come deer shooting would be his second favorite, but he wasn't that into fox shooting.
Yeah. Which is, look,
If
that's fair. And probably, look, dude, if I suppose you're right there, you hit the nail on the head. Like, obviously you preach, like, we hunt for our meat and food and conservation and protection of, habitat and all that kind of stuff. There's loads of different reasons which we've talked about here, but and I suppose I would find that as well, even with fox hunting, like, sometimes, especially, say if you're sitting up and from his perspective, he's just watching you, and he can't. It's not as if, like, it's in the daytime where you're
you can
watching.
see, yeah,
Exactly. So it can kind of become a little bit tedious. Do you know what I mean? It's great for the person behind the gun or the thermal, but I know for a fact, even when I'm out and say I bring Noli with me, do you know what I mean? And what I'll do is I'll give Noli me thermal. And
that's what I ended up doing,
yeah,
just to include him because I was
yeah,
conscious that he was just walking behind me.
yeah.
But
But then,
that's something that though I didn't think about going out. I was
yeah,
sort of doing it all, and
yeah,
then he was sort of dragging his feet behind me, and I went, "Oh, sure, he's just walking around in the dark behind his dad.
yeah.
I have to include him here."
And so you're top of the world. I mean, because you're watching this whole thing in unfold in real time. Do you know what I mean? Like in real life and so on. but he's obviously there like, what the fuck is this fella getting excited about? Sure, it's fucking pitch dark. But when you see the eyes coming in the scope or whatever, you know what I mean, your heart's starting to race and you're all excited and he's there thinking, yeah, yeah, it's grand, you know.
Yeah.
And that's probably again just kicking back to the older traditional way of, the lamping. It's more that's more of a, what would you say, a team sport, where both people are getting involved. You've one lad on the lamp trying to spot, and then another lad, getting set up ready to shoot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
So
definitely like a team sport, especially the big old battery pack
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
lamps.
you got the waist strap one with the little smaller battery. It was like a, do you know what I mean? That was big technology back in the day. The other one
Asha,
like
you were nobody unless you had one that sat on top of your scope and you could press a button yourself.
yeah, yeah. Top of the pops.
uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it wasn't for him. But even at that, like driving around between different spots, like father and son chats, it's still like you're just shooting the breeze about life in general, his problems, what's going on. You find out some amount of stuff by just spending time. Even
Well,
though he didn't enjoy it,
yeah, yeah. Well, like,
he
see,
still
that's the
had.
thing. Probably not enjoy it. Wouldn't be probably the, because I know Sean obviously, but it was probably not what he expected. I'd say I would suggest he will probably come back in his own time. He'll probably,
Yeah.
because he has to now marry the world where, right, we're doing this for this, but we have to do that for that, and that's why the two worlds kind of combine. Do you know what I mean? So,
So
um,
you're 100% right. This is the conversation that we had. No, we don't eat them. So why do you do it? I was nearly like I had to justify him. Like he was grilling
yeah,
me now. He wasn't
yeah,
letting me off the hook easy.
yeah,
And I was saying, sure, you know the way we go pheasant shooting? Yeah. Well, we have to do this to protect the stock of pheasants that we have raised to release. And he was like, you could see him going, yeah, but you should be eating what you're shooting, or it's a waste. But I was going, but buddy, you wouldn't get to hunt your dog if
yeah,
we didn't do this because there would be nothing to hunt. And then in his naivety, he was saying, sure, they fly into trees and that's where they nest. I was like, no, buddy, that's where they roost.
yeah,
That's not where they nest.
yeah.
He was like, oh, there's a difference. Like, so it's all this type of learning chats.
Yeah, and
And
I think that's definitely that's a conversation that's been had all over the country at the minute. Where you've people with small bit, and that's not disrespect to Sean, but he has a small piece of the picture. Do you know what I mean? Like, because he's focused in, say, on the one aspect of that. And I think a lot of people around the country, especially in the probably in the animal rights kind of side of things, where they have a page out of book, but not all the pages are there. Do you know what I'm saying? They can't access it. You need the whole book to put it all together. So
to make an informed decision.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, look, it still seemed like he's had a good old night out. Talk me about
We did.
it. So he's went
Um,
out up the first lane, as we call it.
Up the first lane, parked up, and then we were early. It was still daylight, and I said, "Sure, look, we'll go for a walk. I won't set up the gear until it gets dark or near dark." Because to be honest, I was more interested in making a couple of videos because people had wrote in asking, "Let us know what this is like."
Yeah,
Grant, we only walked about 50 meters, and then I just put my hand on Sean's shoulder to stop him because a young fox had walked out on the left-hand side, just out of the hedge. Didn't have a breeze. We were there because the wind was actually in our favor. So I set up really quickly on the sticks, and I was on him, but he was making his way behind some scrub foliage. And Sean went to give him a squeak at the wrong time. I was like, no, 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 because I was teaching him about squeaking the foxes,
yeah,
so he was practicing on the way. But lucky enough, he didn't really hear it was a low enough squeak. He walked by where I wanted him to walk, and there was a tiny little gap where I could get him to stop, and he just stopped where I wanted him on a louder squeak. Took the shot, and he went down. I thought it was a full size. No, it wasn't. It was a cub.
yeah,
Everything I seen, bar one, that night was a cub.
yeah,
So that was the first one. Then I went down to the bottom of that lane, and I made. That's where you seen the sheep video that I put up.
yeah, yeah,
Came back up nice and slow. Didn't see anything. Oh, sorry, I did. I did see something else, but it wasn't in our spot, so I couldn't do anything about it. I
yeah,
squeaked at it and squeaked at it, but to no joy. To be honest, most of the foxes I seen were either too far away or they were going into cover or they weren't on our permission. The two that I could set up on and take a shot, I managed to get. From there, I went down the second lane, and there's a little laneway on the right hand side, and I just happened to stick up the thermal, and there was three foxes. So I set up, I squeaked at one of them. I mean, when I say he came in like Usain Bolt. I couldn't get him to stop.
Yeah,
I was shouting at him, and he just wasn't stopping. I was like, he's going to be at 20 meter. I won't know where to aim on this lad.
yeah,
But
yeah,
he eventually stopped for a split second. That's why you'll see that shot is quite quick.
yeah.
Um, I didn't want him coming any closer, so I managed to put two on the ground. I went up your lane then,
Any
had a
down
little
there?
nose. No, surprisingly, and that lane is normally
Normally throws up one, yeah. Normally
yeah,
throws up one.
no, nothing. I tell a lie. There was, but it was in the old farm ground that has been
Yes.
sold there
Yeah,
recently.
yeah,
So I left him alone as well because,
yeah,
and
no,
that was a full size fox. That was a
yeah.
yeah, it was either a dog or vixen. But and then it was getting late, and I asked him, "Do you want to go back down the first lane?" He was like, "If you want." In other words, not
Nope.
really. So I was happy enough. Look, I managed to make a couple of videos, take two foxes, so there's two less that can do damage.
How many did you see
Then
altogether, buddy?
we've seen eight,
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
eight. Now, like I said, most of them were cubs,
yeah.
and I know that there's a lot of active fox shooting in that area, and still to see eight.
Well, I
Like
said to you
what?
there, one of the lads has taken, Jeff has taken, I think since Christmas, 60 foxes in probably somewhere in like 5 to 7 kilometer radius of that. If you take it
That area?
between the first and the second lane would be epicenter. Draw a line around that kind of, it'd be less, be 5 kilometers, but yeah, that would be all it'd be. That's
Yeah,
he's taken 60 foxes. So like that'll just tell you, and you've seen eight. Do you know?
I seen
I
eight, and like I know I wasn't. I was being sort of I could have pushed to see more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you had went
Yeah,
back down the lane, you would have seen another couple. You know, like it's, and this is the thing for because like obviously, look, that's 60 foxes is a lot of foxes. There's no doubt about it. But because just of the range that they have, the cover that they have, and the sheer amount of them now, because apart from us couple there, there's nobody else doing it. Like whereas years ago, say I would remember like when I was growing up, like there was Heartland Gun Club, there was Derry Gun Club, you had Rogoffi Gun Club, you had Tim Ho, you had Cock Newtown, and each one of them clubs like would have had, you know, the smallest would be 20 in a club, you know, some of them could have 40, 50 members, you know,
yeah,
and all of them were actively fox hunting, you know. So you take now, you know what I mean, even in our own club, you know, there's less than half people fox shooting it, you know. So it's just literally the habitat obviously has changed so much that it just suits them now, you know. Because people will argue, and I've seen this, you know, that foxes self-regulate. I presume they would at some stage, but if you take in the countryside, that might be true, say in a town where they become overpopulated. But even in towns now, they've so much food because there's waste and rubbish everywhere. Do you know what I mean? They're not. How are they going to self-regulate? There was the only way that any wild animal would self-regulate would be that either it dies of old age, or predation, or starvation. There's probably the three methods that they self-regulate. And if you don't have predation, which a fox doesn't, apart from ourselves, and if you have an abundance of habitat and food, which they do, they ain't gonna. It would take a huge boost in numbers to self-regulate.
yeah.
And
Like here's just from a naive young man's perspective. Sean turned to me on the way home, and goes, "I've never seen that many foxes in my life."
there you go.
And it was eight. Like I've gone out and seen 18 with you,
Yeah, yeah, that would be
like
a
high
quiet night.
teens.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was a
that'd be a
quiet night. Yeah,
quiet night. And like that, like say, you know, if we had just took a rough scout around. Which, if say it was me and you, I know you were probably doing it a little bit slower and more methodical with Sean talking through it and so on. Like that, you would be guaranteed. There's no night that you would not be guaranteed go out to see any less than double digits.
Yeah,
Um, so that's the kind of look. We all know about it. I suppose the problem is the people that don't. But sure, look, we're okay for another while.
yeah. Now
Now,
I have to apologize.
go on.
You had a bit of a go off me earlier about something I said on the last podcast about not everyone should have night vision.
Yeah, yeah, we had a
Yeah,
bit of debate as we normally do, and we said
yeah.
like we were chatting about it. I said, no, we'll have that now. We'll have this on air because, to be fair, give both sides
Go on.
talk. Just what did you mean by it?
No, you attack me first and let me defend myself.
Yeah, you let me shoot me load and then fucking
Yeah.
come after me with fucking double barrels. So yeah, look, there's right. The phrase was that you can kind of understand why some people are not, why they're not just handing out license for night vision, right? Now,
Yeah.
we'll let you defend that side. I'll do the devil's advocate side. So it is a scope. It's not a firearm alone. It can't fire anything. It's not a projectile. So we're talking about essentially a camera. And my kind of, what would you say, conspiracy side of me was, why do they want to control all this type of stuff? Are they afraid of, surely we should have a right to legitimately, like any other country in the European Union, carry around a scope, be it digital or not, without the requirement for a license. I think it's over the top. I think it's nanny state. It's very authoritarian, dictatorial.
Don't
Um,
be using fucking big words at
I know,
me
yeah.
now.
Hey, well, you
And
asked me
European
first.
Union.
Yeah.
Go on.
The UN. So yeah, yeah. So like I just think that's very, very prohibitive and probably not probably unduly so.
Okay, so my initial statement was I can see from the guards' perspective why
Hmm.
they wouldn't want because they are an unarmed force and now they're going to allow anybody with no data record of who has the capability to shoot in the dark or spot in the dark or spy in the dark for reconnaissance reasons. I would argue that how many European countries have got armed police forces and the training and capability. Like the guards don't have this capability, or if they do, it's only ERU that would have the capability. So why would you allow your population to have a capability that your policing force doesn't have without having some sort of record? At the end of the day, the only people that are going in to take a weapon of a crazy person, they mightn't be crazy while they have it, but they could have a nervous breakdown and decide to go mad, is the guards. And it's not a job I'd wish on anyone. That's
Okay.
all I was trying to betray.
No, I get you, but the whole thing, like, so they've no issue with night vision, say singularly. Do you know what I'm saying? As
Yes,
in, you can go out and
non-passive,
yes,
non-passive night vision.
so something that can't be attached to a gun, right?
Yeah,
Now, devil's advocate again, buddy. Like, if I am, and we said this, like if I'm a legally held holding firearm citizen, right? We've a standard to meet that's probably above and beyond anyone
I
else.
want to circle back to that standard now in 2 seconds. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Then so now if I'm that way inclined and I'm a thief or I'm a bank robber, I ain't going to be using no legally held firearm to do the said criminal activity. You know what I mean? If I'm out of that, if I'm of that ilk, then I'm going to do that kind of unlawfully anyway. Do you know what I mean? So how would it like?
Correct, correct and right. But I will
No,
argue with you then, if
go
there's
on.
no license on it, then you can just walk in as a criminal who has an illegal firearm and attach a non-passive night vision scope with no record of it. Now, I understand you can just go up the north and get them, but at least in the state, they're trying to make some sort of record of it.
Yeah, yeah. I can look. I can obviously see both sides of the argument. I'm not naive. Uh,
Look, we're only arguing just to be doing devil's
yeah,
advocate.
it's
Do
not
I
it's not a
think it
win or
should
a
be
loser.
a restricted firearm? No, I don't think it should be a restricted firearm. Do I
I
think there should be a database, a record kept of it, and you need to explain why you need it? Yeah, I do.
yeah, that's a fair point. Like say like which I actually think is a stupid fucking rule. I think it's a movie made rule, a suppressor. Like obviously, you can remember the firearms officer asking you, do you have a silencer on that? No, I don't. Like you have a suppressor or moderator. I think that was formed out of a little bit of panic as to they thought that people would be going around shooting and nobody could hear them. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
genuinely think that was born out of that particular fear. In this instance, I just think it should be, yes, absolutely. When you purchase that it's an add-on to your license. So like for instance, if you have a 270, when you renew your license, the scope, is it digitized or not? You box tick. If it is digitized, what's the model? And it should be just added to that and no more than that. I don't think it should be
yeah. Look,
any more restrictive than that.
like a firearms system.
Yeah,
So when you go in to get a license, you have your firearm, your suppressor, and your night vision scope serial number. That is your
yeah,
firearms system,
yes,
and that has been granted to you, and that's how you then get it out of the shot. Now I'm shooting from the hip here, like all sorts of a cowboy, but that's as much of a restriction I think should be put on it. Now,
yeah.
should you still have to justify it why you need it?
Well,
Should
like
there be training for night vision scopes or shooting under torch
I, I, I,
before you're allowed?
Yeah, like I definitely think it's a different type of shooting, buddy. Do you know, like I definitely think, like, say nighttime shooting in particular. Now there's going to be loads of people saying, "Ah, sure, for fuck's sake!" But it's like years ago. I wouldn't like to be growing up now because literally, we all jumped in. We went in, got our license, jumped in a car, and started driving. That's the way we all did it.
Hmm.
No lessons, no fuck all. And you went in and failed the test, came back out and drove your car home. Do you know? So I think that's kind of like a obviously we've moved on from that, and probably rightly so. Do you know what I mean? But not properly, absolutely. Same thing when shooting. I've argued the point, where there shouldn't be people making money on courses and all that kind of stuff. For the side of the people who have already had 20, 10, 15, 20 years plus experience, I don't think,
And
I think
they don't have to do it.
no, they don't have to, but say if you want to go on a kill lease for argument's sake, you have to do it. Do you know what I mean? I have
I'd
so
argue to let anyone onto Quilch Elise that they have to at least show that they have, like, they might have all the knowledge in the world.
yeah.
They've been shooting 20 years, but prove you have the knowledge. Now you have
Yeah.
that standard, you have that piece of paper, grant.
No, I get you. I get you. And look, we got into that one before, and there's no winner, there's no win and loser. It's probably an argument for another day, but I just think, yeah, like with this particular one, I think it's absolutely you should have some sort of regulation, but not to the point that we're at
Yeah,
now.
no, I definitely shouldn't be restricted for it. Like a restricted firearms license, like demands more for home security for that scope than it does for me 270 rifle.
Now,
Do you know what I mean?
I do. On that note, that
Yeah,
brings us to the conclusion of this week's podcast.
perfect.
So we'll end that.
Did I win that?
No, you did not. That's why I'm
I
fucking
did
ending it
win
now. That's why I'm ending it
that.
now. Listen, you take care of yourself, my man.
Go on. Have a good one.
Over
Talk to you
now,
soon,
buddy.
buddy. Bye, 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 bye.
Has your deer got a temperature? We've got the solution for you. Visit gamecooling.ie for a full range of game cooling and game preparation solutions. And make sure to tell them we sent you.